Mounting U.S. casualties in Somalia force President Clinton into a dilemma. Stay put, retaliate, or pull out? And what happens to American prisoners?
Mike Durant.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung.
Good evening. China has detonated a new nuclear bomb. More about that later in the broadcast. But first, about Somalia. There's no easy way out of there now, but tonight we're told President Clinton is determined to do something, and soon.
Several Americans are still missing after Sunday's street slaughter in Mogadishu. U.S. Army reinforcements are on the way. But in Congress, calls are rising for the U.S. to get out, especially in the wake of very graphic and gruesome video coming out of Somalia. With that warning about tonight's coverage, National Security Correspondent David Martin begins our report.
Mobs continued their desecration of American bodies today, adding emotion to the already intense debate in Washington over what to do next in Somalia. The wreckage of an American helicopter, a dead American still inside, became a playground for Somali children. The U.S. is at war in Somalia, and this young woman, now a widow, will never forget it.
Well, I thought he'd be back. I thought, he'd come back, he'd be okay.
12 Americans are dead, 6 more still missing.
I'm a soldier, I have to do what I'm told.
At least one of them, Chief Warrant Officer Mike Durant, is now a prisoner, injured and afraid for his life.
He looks a little beat up, but he's still alive. So there's still a chance.
I think we can tell Mr. Adid that we want Americans back, otherwise sooner or later he will pay.
In New Jersey, the worried mother of a soldier wants her boy home from a mission gone wrong.
These boys started out going over, distributing food, doing their job. Now they're being spit on, cursed at, and stoned.
But at Army bases, fresh troops and reinforcements, 600 in all, are shipping out. The tanks had been requested weeks ago by the American commander in Somalia, but turned down by the Pentagon, which wanted to keep the commitment as small as possible. Now the U.S. must either get serious, which means putting in thousands more troops, or get out, which would trigger a rush for the exit by all the other members of the so-called peacekeeping force.
The feeling is still that if the U.S. and the other countries pull out now, it goes back to just the way it was 18 months ago.
It is the cruelest of dilemmas. How not to waste the sacrifice and suffering of lives already lost without sacrificing still more.
General Joseph Hoare, the commander of U.S. forces in Somalia, came to Washington today carrying a list of military options, some of which would include putting up to a division's worth of troops into Somalia. But General Hoare is also carrying the message that there is no military solution in Somalia. Connie?
David Martin at the Pentagon, thank you.
President Clinton flew back to Washington from California early today to consider just what his options might be for a next move on or out of Somalia. From Los Angeles, White House correspondent Rita Braver has the latest on that part of the story.
President Clinton was in Los Angeles to talk about health care, but first thing this morning, his staff brought him up to date on the situation in Somalia. And while her boss made his speech to retirees, Press Secretary Dee Dee Myers answered questions about Somalia. Her message, the U.S. still wants a stable political system in place before withdrawing.
And we'll continue to try to reinforce our troops there on the ground to make sure that they're safe while we create an environment where humanitarian assistance can continue to be delivered.
The president hurried back to Washington for a meeting on Somalia with his top diplomatic and military advisors. He's been calling congressional leaders, trying to quiet increasingly loud bipartisan demands for a speedy American pullout.
Americans have no desire to see their men and women degraded, killed, and defiled by lawless infidels who drag the bodies of Americans through the streets to be kicked and spat upon.
We are in a quagmire, and we will not get out of that quagmire by getting further and deeper into it.
But the secretaries of Defense and State met with congressional leaders to explain that bringing the troops home is more complicated now, with Americans missing and captured.
We must make it clear to General Adid that he must return the Americans who are missing. He must not harm them. He'll be held responsible if he does harm them.
The White House says that the president was very upset by pictures of the remains of an American serviceman being dragged through Mogadishu, calling the incident reprehensible. And White House sources say that within the next few days, the president will choose a course of action that will lead to an orderly withdrawal from Somalia. But finding that path will be difficult, Dan.
Rita Braver live in Los Angeles. Thanks.
Those pictures of a U.S. serviceman's body being desecrated, plus the video of an American captive, have also angered the American public. But not all agree what should be done about it. Correspondent Richard Threlkeld has been listening as America speaks.
They're already tying yellow ribbons around Berlin, New Hampshire, the hometown of Michael Durant, the American soldier held hostage in Somalia.
I was in World War II, and I know what it's like, and I can imagine what he's going through.
At Fort Drum, New York, where some of the Americans fighting in Somalia are stationed, they were holding a World War II veterans reunion when the latest casualty list started coming in.
We are with you and with the soldiers of the 10th Mountain Division.
Marion Newsom's husband, Daryl, is serving in Somalia right now.
They didn't go there to fight a war. They went there to feed the hungry and to help people that are hungry people. But they shouldn't be there.
You don't have to be married to a soldier in Somalia to wonder if America's doing the right thing there. At the University of Vermont, they're wondering.
We're no longer welcome there, and we need to get out.
Why are we there in the first place?
A generation after Vietnam, it's clear the Vietnam syndrome is still alive on the talk show radios in New York City, among other places.
Didn't we learn a lesson in Vietnam that you can't go in pussyfooting around?
It's a tough choice, and there are those in Miami, for instance, who want to finish what America started.
We should be in Somalia and any other place on the earth where we think that people are being deprived of their basic human rights and they're powerless to achieve them on their own.
Mostly, though, people seem to be asking the same questions they've apparently been asking themselves at the White House.
They went over there to feed the people, right? Now they're over there fighting them. I mean, you're going to feed or you're going to fight them. What you going to do?
Whatever choice the White House makes will be influenced by something far more formidable than the forces of the fugitive General ID'd, the force of American public opinion. Richard Threlkeld, CBS News, New York.
Straight ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, the day after in Moscow. Is Yeltsin's battle over or just beginning?
And Eye on America. Tonight, the cost of keeping cool in your car versus the cost of overheating the atmosphere.
Maytag repairmen own the finest tools. And sometimes, they even get to use them. Maytag, the dependability people.
What if there was a flower that always looked beautiful and always smelled fresh? A flower that never stopped blooming. Now there is. Introducing Glade Plug-ins Tulip. Now plug-ins refills last even longer, not for 30, but for 45 days of freshness. Plug into 45 days of Glade freshness, now in Tulip. Glade from SC Johnson Wax. Some people get nasal congestion, but if you get sinus congestion, use a sinus spray like Sinex. Only Sinex has a decongestant plus Vicks Vapors, so you can feel your swollen passages open up. For sinus, think Sinex.
China's determination to make of itself both an economic and military superpower was underscored again today as the Chinese set off another new nuclear weapons test. Correspondent Eric Ingberg reports on the blast and its ramifications in Washington.
The Clinton administration, which imposed a moratorium on U.S. nuclear testing in July, responded to the Chinese blast by taking a small preliminary step toward the resumption of tests.
The president has announced that he will ask the Energy Department to be prepared to go forward with additional tests if that's become necessary for the United States.
Seismic stations around the world detected the first Chinese test in a year, a medium-sized device detonated at the Lop Nor underground site in western China. The test again demonstrated Chinese indifference to world opinion, coming just 2 weeks after the president, speaking at the UN, asked the nuclear powers to refrain from further testing.
I renew my call on the nuclear states
to abide by that moratorium as we negotiate to stop nuclear testing for all time.
The president's announcement today was seen more as a diplomatic jab at the Chinese leadership than a decision to actually resume testing, a step that would require the approval of a still reluctant Congress.
And I think just to use one instance like this as saying that now we're going to resume testing might encourage other nations to start testing again.
A worldwide ban on nuclear tests is one centerpiece of administration foreign policy. The Chinese defiance complicates the president's task. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
President Clinton telephoned Boris Yeltsin today, and later a spokesman said the president was reassured by their first talks since the Russian army crushed a rebellion by dissident lawmakers. Yeltsin reportedly promised to go ahead with democratic reforms and free elections in December. Today in Moscow, they were cleaning up the carnage, as we hear and see from Moscow correspondent Cindy Kennard.
This morning, there were bodies on the streets of Moscow. The Russian parliament's White House blackened and battered. Aftermath of Boris Yeltsin's crush of a violent political rebellion. Officials now say at least 150 people were killed, 600 injured, including 5 Americans. A U.S. Marine stationed at the nearby American embassy was wounded in the crossfire.
It had a devastating effect on me, and they did assure me that he was in stable condition and they will keep me posted.
There are still scattered areas of resistance in the city and reports of sniper fire. Not all Boris Yeltsin's opponents have been silenced.
And that's what his mission was today. The Russian president brought 5,000 additional troops to Moscow and put them on standby. Police were given the power to search cars and expel non-residents of the city. Yeltsin sacked and detained political opponents. He suspended a popular television show that has been critical of his government. He shut down opposition newspapers and created an office of censorship. Tough moves that reminded many here of the bad old days.
Now he closes one after another all other organizations. Soon we'll have one president only, without any opposition, without anybody else. I don't know what the situation will be.
The battle for the White House is over. The armor is going home. But one woman watching them drive away wondered, how long will it be before they have to come back? Cindy Kennard, CBS News, Moscow.
Stay with us for much more CBS Evening News, including memories of a nightmare. Survivors of the World Trade Center bombing testify about the terror.
When I decided to fix my porch myself,
I couldn't quite believe it.
So, who comes to the rescue?
Well, handy he's not. And since when did you get all this energy?
Ever since you got me started on breakfast with grape nuts. It's like he said, this box is full of great mornings.
Look, it's right here. Fat-free, natural energy source. I said try it a few mornings.
And I did. And it does help keep me going. You know, Dad, I think I have inherited your handiness.
Yeah, I think you've inherited my toolkit. That's what he's got.
Post Grape Nut cereal helps keep you going strong all morning long.
The idea for our new Dow plant was simple. If we don't cause water pollution, there'll be no need to clean up water pollution. So Dow employed advanced technology that completely recycles the water we use within the plant instead of sending it back to the river. No one made us do it. We just did it. Is this kind of pollution prevention important for our future? I've got a couple of reasons that say yes, it is.
Dow lets you do great things.
Want the inside story on me, George Brett? I have minor arthritis pain. Right here, see? And hey, I gotta use this shoulder. That's why I want strong relief. So I use Ultra Strength Bengay. It's got 3 pain relievers. They've only got 1. And besides, doctors recommend Bengay the most. For arthritis pain like yours and mine, get relief right where it hurts. Ultra Strength Bengay. Nothing stronger.
Eye on America. In-depth daily reports on family, education, crime, the community, and the environment. Only on the CBS Evening News.
Another multi-million-dollar mistake for the U.S. space program tonight. This time, a $220 million Earth observation satellite launched from California today on a Titan rocket. The satellite was launched into the wrong orbit, and so far, ground controllers are unable to make contact.
Many Midwesterners are working hard to rebuild lives shattered by the great floods of '93. Bulldozers today began knocking down 100 houses that were damaged beyond repair in Elwood, Kansas. A levee break in July submerged the small Kansas town in floodwaters 12 feet deep. Both Los Angeles policemen found guilty of violating Rodney King's civil rights must go to jail. The Supreme Court today refused to allow Stacey Koon to remain free while appealing his conviction. Lawrence Powell received a similar ruling yesterday.
4 alleged terrorists could spend the rest of their lives in prison if they're convicted of bombing the World Trade Center here in New York. At the trial today, people who lived through the noontime nightmare told their horror stories. Correspondent Giselle Fernandez has our report.
There's been an explosion at the exit ramp to the World Trade Center parking lot.
The emotional terror of the World Trade Center bombing and the frantic scramble for safety took center stage today in Manhattan federal court. Prosecutors played the 911 call placed by a salesman who left the Trade Center garage just 1 minute before the blast.
There's tremendous explosion.
Okay, is that one World Trade Center?
Yes, it is one World Trade Center.
The government, trying to prove 4 Muslim fundamentalists set off the bomb, had a series of witnesses relive their personal trauma. One showed pictures of his damaged car and the chunk of metal that flew into his dashboard. A security officer described how he helped a group of terrified school children trapped in a dark elevator reach safe ground. Another witness held back tears as he described his long friendship with Wilfredo Mercado, one of 6 people killed in the bombing. Defense attorneys outside dismissed the testimony, saying the government is presenting emotions, not evidence.
We still don't have any facts about the bombing. We have injuries. Everybody knows there's injuries. You can watch the nightly news to see the injuries. No facts.
But in surprising testimony, a Secret Service agent told how seconds before the blast, he saw a yellow van inside the garage. The van is believed to have carried the explosives and is linked to at least one of the suspects. Defense attorneys want to know why this wasn't in his initial report. As prosecutors inside try to prove the Trade Center bombing was a terrorist conspiracy, outside unprecedented efforts are underway to try and protect against any terrorist retaliation. Not only may jurors identified only by numbers be escorted partway home, but prosecutors whose lives have reportedly been threatened have also moved their families to a secret location. Giselle Fernandez, CBS News, New York.
Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, health care reform and a compromise plan that many lawmakers say is just what the doctor ordered.
So what do you want for breakfast?
You got something different?
Kellogg's Just Right.
Sounds good.
Honey, what do you want for breakfast?
Something different.
Kellogg's Just Right.
Sounds good.
Honey, what do you want for breakfast?
Something different.
Kellogg's Just Right.
Sounds good.
Kellogg's Just Right is just what you want. An exciting blend of sensational tastes and textures, so you always get something different.
What do you want for breakfast?
Kellogg's Just Right.
Sounds good.
Kellogg's Just Right. You just never get tired of it.
For a touch of arthritis pain, my husband takes Advil. Doctors recommend Advil most for minor arthritis pain, and it's gentler on his stomach than aspirin. He says Advil lets him get back to doing what he loves. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
My hemorrhoids hurt so much, I was afraid I needed surgery. But my doctor said they weren't serious, and it's time I used Preparation H.
Preparation H helps relieve the symptoms of inflamed hemorrhoidal tissues, often bringing relief from itching, burning, and painful irritation for hours. Doctor recommended Preparation H.
The good news, diets rich in antioxidants may benefit your long-term health. The bad news, the average diet is not rich in antioxidants. Today's news, Protegra, the new antioxidant supplement that's all antioxidants. More vitamin E, vitamin C, and beta-carotene. Protegra, with more antioxidant support than you get from a regular multivitamin. To boost your antioxidant levels, even if you take a multivitamin, add Protegra to your daily routine. Protegra, the good news in antioxidants.
The fighting in Somalia. Should America get out?
And are you getting the whole story about a child you could adopt?
Tomorrow on CBS This Morning with Harry Smith and Paula Zahn.
Men have another reason now to cut down on the fat in their diets. Harvard researchers report tonight that animal fat appears to help prostate tumors grow. Their study found that the more red meat a man eats, the more likely he is to develop advanced prostate cancer. Yeah.
President and Mrs. Clinton were out again today trying to sell their health care plan. At the same time, a competing plan is about to be introduced in Congress, and you could be hearing a lot more about this, beginning with this report from correspondent Linda Douglas.
While the First Lady was in Washington, the President was in California, explaining what the future will be like under the Clinton health care plan.
You just think if everybody had a Social Security card and a health security card, what a better country this would be.
But in Congress, bipartisan support is building for a health plan that would be quite different from the Clintons. A bill will be introduced tomorrow by members of Congress who want less government regulation.
We have minimal bureaucracy, and that may be the greatest selling point out there.
Both plans guarantee insurance for everyone. The Clinton plan requires employers to contribute toward the cost of insurance. The alternative plan has no employer mandate. But under the Clinton plan, employers can deduct the total cost of providing health insurance. Under the alternative plan, employers can only deduct the cost of a basic package of benefits. Supporters say that will drive down the cost of insurance. And the Clinton plan calls for about $100 billion a year in new spending for new programs like prescription drugs for the elderly and long-term care. The alternative plan does not provide as many benefits and costs $25 billion a year, most of which would be spent on subsidies for the poor.
Key thing is minimize government coercion and only target the folks you should target.
The health plan that finally emerges will be a compromise, but no matter which plan passes the Congress, it's likely President Clinton will get the credit for health care reform. Linda Douglas, CBS News, Washington.
When I was a kid, Mom was always after me to eat right.
And that's what mothers do.
Now I'm looking out for her with Ensure. More than a vitamin supplement, Ensure is a delicious drink with all the nutrients adults need to help stay healthy, active, be energetic.
Drink Ensure as a meal.
Or in between.
You know, dear, Ensure is even recommended #1 by doctors as a source of complete, balanced nutrition.
Ensure. To your health, Mom.
Our health, dear.
Oh, Jeff, not feeling good, hon. When Jeffrey catches a cold, we see the pediatrician.
I love my pediatrician. He's my dad.
He recommends Dimetap Elixir.
Doctors have recommended the Dimetap brand over 200 million times. It relieves sneezing, nasal congestion, runny noses.
And Jeffrey really likes the great taste.
Doctors recommend Dimetap for their families and yours.
We have a live-in doctor. He recommends Dimetap Elixir.
Out here isn't the only place our Ford F-Series pickups have blazed new trails. Our engineering labs are filled with constant improvements like our new standard airbag, a new convertible console seat, and yet along with all these new ideas, there's one that's not new for us at all. Toughness. Because when you design a truck for the future, it better be built to last that long. Ford F-Series, the #1 selling truck, is built Ford tough.
I know what I like and don't like. I don't like irregularity. It slows me down. I don't like harsh chemical laxatives. I like natural. Like new smooth texture, regular flavored Metamucil. It's the only natural fiber with no sweeteners, no added flavors, as well as no grit. I don't like those. So it's easy to take, easy to get the extra fiber I need, and it works just the way I expect from Metamucil, to get the body up and running. I like that.
Metamucil, the natural choice for regularity.
If your car has air conditioning, you probably paid hundreds of dollars for it. Now, what if we told you you'll have to shell out hundreds more to keep the AC running? It could happen unless researchers come up with a new refrigerant, and fast. Wyatt Andrews reports on the cold rush of '93 in tonight's Eye on America.
If you own a car made in 1993 or before, the air conditioner under your hood might already be a dinosaur. Why? Because the coolant it uses, R12, commonly called Freon, is being phased out.
Oh, you have a leak in there somewhere.
Sooner or later, your car and your wallet will have a date with an air conditioning specialist like Simon Uluhojian.
I feel we have 60 to 90 million cars that are potential candidates for retrofit.
At a cost of?
Anywhere from $200 to $800 a vehicle.
It's the cost of saving the ozone layer. By international agreement, the ozone-destroying refrigerants used in your home, office, and car cannot be made after 1995. The transition is happening already.
Now there's a car whose air conditioner uses a refrigerant that won't harm the ozone.
For new cars, the big three automakers have embraced an ozone-safe chemical made by DuPont, R134A. But guess what?
They just don't mix.
Chrysler engineer Don Gilbert warns the new chemical won't work in older cars. That's where it gets expensive.
What changeover would include the entire condenser, your AC lines, your AC compressor, and your evaporator.
The very idea that 90 million consumers may soon have to retrofit their car air conditioners has already set off a multi-billion-dollar competition to find the magic substance that will simply drop into the air conditioner you own now. Gary, what's the formula?
I can't tell you what the secret sauce is, Wyatt.
In this Allentown garage, Gary Hordesky's company, Intermagnetics, is testing what he hopes will be air conditioning's holy grail, a chemical you can use with your old system.
You come into the gas station, he'll charge you $50 to charge it up, and rather than having to replace $300 worth of equipment.
The judge and jury of this billion-dollar refrigerant sweepstakes is the Environmental Protection Agency. It's now listing some 300 chemicals as either approved, disapproved, or pending review as environmentally friendly substitutes. Want to guess which chemical the EPA hasn't yet approved? Water. Judy Kinney's company in Denver makes a different kind of air conditioning system. It's called an evaporative air cooler. Water is simply dripped over panels, and the cool air produced as the water evaporates is then pumped out. So water.
Water.
That's the ingredient.
That's the ingredient.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
In drier climates, like in Denver, it's already used to cool buses, homes, and offices, and yet it's not approved by the EPA.
We do feel that that is being tamped down.
Tamped down by?
By EPA's inaction.
EPA says that with 300 applications, it set priorities. Because chemicals are used more than water, Assistant Administrator Michael Shapiro says chemicals were studied first. You did not have the staff to evaluate water.
It's more than just water, obviously. It's an entire technology. We will be catching up on this particular product.
But while the EPA catches up, James Mattill says the delay puts him out of business. Mattill sells evaporative coolers for buses.
They're already promoting other technologies right now.
At your expense, you believe?
Yes.
Critics charge the EPA with favoring the big chemical lobby. But it may be that in EPA's rush to find consumers a new high-tech chemical, it ignored an answer as low-tech as you can get. In Denver, Wyatt Andrews for Eye on America.
And that's our news. Coming up on CBS This Morning, how to tell the difference between a simple case of the blues and serious depression. Join Harry Smith and Paula Zahn first thing in the morning.
And don't forget the baseball playoffs, the Blue Jays against the White Sox here on CBS tonight. Connie and I will see you again tomorrow night here on the CBS Evening News. Thanks, everyone, for being with us. Good night.
Good night.
Experience CBS News.
Eddie Cortez was nearly shipped off to Mexico because they thought he was an illegal.
What it comes down to it basically is if you are Mexican looking.
But there's more. Eddie's the mayor of Pomona, California. What's going on here? Eye on America knows tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung.
This is CBS.